After many years working abroad, I finally returned to my hometown, thinking my family would welcome me back. But I was wrong. My younger brother drove me out of the house. With nowhere else to go, my aunt let me stay in an old shed behind her garden. From that moment on, I knew my life had to start over from zero.
This morning, the first thing I did was walk around the neighborhood picking up empty beer cans people had thrown away. Where I'm from, one empty beer can sells for only about 400 dong. It's a very small amount. But for me right now, every coin matters. Little by little, I believe I won't starve. And for me, at this moment, this is the only way to start over. Sometimes, as I bend down to pick up those old cans, I can't help thinking about the days when I dreamed of changing my life in a foreign land. But life is like that. In the corner of the yard, my aunt is chopping firewood. These dry logs were gathered from rotten branches or pieces of wood that other people threw away. She chops the wood to start a fire, to boil corn for lunch. The sound of the axe striking the wood echoes with each heavy swing. It sounds like the slow but resilient rhythm of life for the poor in my hometown. After finishing with the cans and old cardboard boxes, I carried the cardboard into the kitchen and stacked it neatly in the corner. The small kitchen was quiet and dusty, with old wooden walls and a rusted tin roof. Inside, there were only a few old tools and some firewood. For now, this little kitchen was the only place where I could cook a simple meal. I carried the corn outside and began cutting and cleaning it before boiling. This is old corn. Back in my hometown, old corn is often boiled or steamed and eaten instead of rice. Sweet young corn is usually used to make desserts. Even the corn silk is never thrown away. People dry it in the sun and boil it to make a light tea that helps with sleep and headaches. As I peeled the corn, I left about a third of the husk on each ear. That way, after the corn is boiled, you can hold the husk while eating, so your hands don't get dirty. Keeping part of the husk also helps lock in moisture, allowing the kernels to cook evenly while staying soft, sweet, and naturally fragrant. After that, I washed the corn carefully with clean water and put it into a large pot. In the countryside, people usually boil corn over a wood fire. The fire burns slowly, and the pot sits there quietly as the corn cooks. Before long, the gentle smell of boiling corn begins to spread in the air. It's a simple smell, but for people who grew up in the countryside, it feels warm and familiar. Growing up in a poor village, we learned to use everything we had. Nothing was wasted. I still remember when I was a child, my family would boil a big pot of corn on days when rice was scarce. We would sit together, eating slowly, making sure every ear lasted as long as possible. Life is hard, but people there always knew how to make the most of even the simplest things.
Sống nó tắt lại đưa phạt á, tắt bớt.
My aunt has finished starting the fire. I place the pot of corn on the stove. Kitchen smoke slowly rises, and the scent of dry wood spreads across the yard. To help the fire catch and burn longer, we add a handful of peanut shells as kindling. In the countryside, peanut shells are often used to start a fire because they burn easily and keep the flame going. Now I sit beside the stove, quietly watching the fire and adding small pieces of wood when needed. While waiting for the corn to cook, I quietly head back to the small storage shed. From now on, these old, weathered walls will be my world, my shelter, after returning with nothing. The room is so simple, filled with the scent of old wood and dust, with my uncle's miscellaneous belongings scattered everywhere. I start tidying up. First, I move the clothes hanging on the line to one side to make some space. As I work, I exchange a few words with my aunt. Her simple kindness makes me feel less lost. I tell myself, if life truly forces me to start over from scratch, then the first thing I should do is organize this place. It might not look like much to anyone else, but for me right now, this is where my new beginning starts.
Wow, rồi đấy tuổi quá. Thì cân bóc bắt đen rồi đấy đã. Rồi đấy còn đen là hứa.
There's no light in the shed, so I decide to take the bulb from the well outside and use it here for now. It's just a temporary solution, but at least it will make the room a little brighter while I clean and arrange things inside. When the light finally comes on, the whole shed slowly appears before my eyes. It's not a big place, just a small, quiet room with a few old things left inside. I begin by wiping the cabinet and moving a few things aside, trying to make the place a little cleaner. As I clean, my mind slowly drifts back to the past. My parents passed away when we were still very young. From that day on, my younger brother and I only had each other. We grew up in this small village. Life was never easy, but we learned to live with very little. Some days we had rice, some days we had corn instead, and sometimes we just made do with whatever we could find. But even in those difficult days, we still had each other. When my brother was sick, I stayed beside him. When I was tired after a long day, he would quietly cook something simple for us to eat. Back then, our dreams were very small. We didn't think about becoming rich. We only hoped that one day our lives would be a little less difficult. Years later, when I grew older, I made a decision that many young people in this village make. I left home and went abroad to work. At first, everything felt strange and overwhelming. A different language, a different place, long hours of work every single day. Some nights I was so tired that I fell asleep the moment I lay down. But whenever things felt too hard, I reminded myself why I left in the first place. I wanted to earn money. I wanted to send it back home, so my brother could live a better life. Month after month, I sent money back. Little by little, I believed things would change. I imagined the day I would return home. Maybe the house would look better. Maybe life would finally feel easier. But life doesn't always follow the plans we make. Standing here now, inside this small shed behind my aunt's house, I realize how different reality can be. For a moment, I feel a quiet sadness inside. Not anger, not regret, just a deep silence. But the strange thing about life is that it never truly stops moving. Even when everything feels broken, time keeps going forward. So I tell myself something simple. If I want things to change, I have to start somewhere. No one is going to come and fix my life for me. Just like this shed. If I don't clean it with my own hands, it will stay messy forever. So I continue wiping the cabinet. I move a few things to the side. Little by little, the space begins to look different. Not perfect, but better than before. Maybe starting over in life doesn't mean doing something big, but maybe it simply means fixing small things one by one. Cleaning one corner, putting one thing back in place, taking one small step forward. This shed may be small and simple, but for now, it's the only place I have. And if my life truly has to start again from zero, then I will begin right here.
Cái ba lô ní chung là em bắt cho nó bạc này. Mà luôn chung em bắt cho rồi. Bắt một chuyện bắt cho rồi.
While I'm still cleaning the shed, my aunt's son walks in. He looks around the small room for a moment. The place is still messy, with dust on the floor and a few things scattered around. He stands there quietly for a bit, asking about what I'm doing and how things are going. After a short while, he starts helping me move a few things aside. We begin tidying the place together. Nothing complicated, just small things here and there. Little by little, the room starts to look less cluttered. In my aunt's house, people are like that. They don't make a big scene when helping someone. If they see you working alone, they simply step in and lend a hand. No big words, just quiet help. Standing there together in this small shed, I suddenly feel a little warmth in my chest. The past few days have not been easy for me. Coming back to the village was not the way I imagined it would be. But moments like this remind me that not everything is lost. After a while, he picks up a broom and begins sweeping the floor. The sound of the broom moving across the ground fills the quiet room. Dust rises lightly and drifts toward the door. I continue wiping the cabinet and arranging a few things while he sweeps. Slowly, the floor becomes cleaner. The room begins to feel more open. Little by little, the shed starts to look less like a forgotten storage place and more like a small place where someone can actually live. We keep working quietly. Sometimes we talk a little. Sometimes we just focus on what we are doing. Outside, everything is calm. Inside the shed, the space gradually becomes brighter and cleaner. And somehow, my heart begins to feel a little lighter too. And maybe starting over in life doesn't begin with big changes. Maybe it begins like this, with small help from someone beside you. A broom moving across the floor, a quiet afternoon of cleaning, and the feeling that even when life becomes difficult, you are not completely alone. out in the yard, a rooster suddenly crows loudly. The sound echoes through the quiet space. It feels almost like a signal that the pot of corn on the stove is nearly ready. After that, I take a moment to wash a few cleaning rags. They're already covered in dust after wiping the cabinet and the floor. Simple chores like this slowly make the place feel cleaner. Around that time, my uncle returns home from outside. He moves slowly in his wheelchair. Because of the aftermath of the war, he can no longer walk like before. But over the years, he has learned to live with it. I have never heard him complain about his situation. Instead, he always faces each day quietly and positively. Watching him like that reminds me that life can be difficult in many different ways. Yet somehow, people still find the strength to keep going. While waiting for the corn to finish cooking, my uncle and I sit down and talk for a while. The conversation is simple and unhurried, just ordinary things. Stories about the village, about the crops this season, and about everyday life. At one point, I notice a few ripe figs on the tree nearby, so I pick a few of them to eat. We sit there, eating the figs, and continuing our conversation. Nothing important, nothing special. Just small, simple moments passing quietly. But somehow, in that calm and ordinary moment, I begin to feel something inside me slowly relax. The heaviness in my chest feels a little lighter. Maybe sometimes what we truly need is not big changes in life. Sometimes, all it takes is a quiet moment like this. Sitting down, talking a little, sharing a few simple fruits from the garden, and letting time pass slowly. Steam begins to rise slowly from the pot. The smell of cooked corn spreads gently through the yard. After waiting for a while, I lift the lid and look inside. The steam escapes all at once, drifting into the air. It's this smell, the one I haven't had the chance to breathe in for a very long time. The corn inside the pot has turned a deeper yellow. I pick up one piece and check if it's ready. The kernels feel soft and warm, just like they should be. So I begin taking the corn out of the pot, one by one. I place them aside and let them cool down for a moment. The pot is still hot, and steam continues to rise as the last pieces come out. Lunch today is very simple, just boiled corn, but somehow it tastes really good. I sit there and eat slowly. While eating, my mind drifts back to everything that has happened. Right now, I have no money, no house of my own, and honestly, I don't even know what I will do tomorrow. But sitting here like this, inside this small shed, quietly looking out into the garden, I suddenly realize something. Even when life pushes you all the way to the bottom, you still have to find the strength to stand up again. I don't know what the road ahead will look like, and I don't know how long it will take. But I believe one thing: as long as I don't give up, sooner or later, life will show me another path. And this time, I will stand up again, starting right here, from this small shed. And maybe one day, when I look back at this moment,
I will realize this small shed was where everything began again.